Thank you, Amy. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone to our spiritual service today. Thank you for all the new faces that are showing. I'm Reverend Janice Hope Gorman from the Hope Interfaith Center, And so I welcome you today. Hope we can have a little bit of interaction and of asking questions of our two beautiful guests that we are having speaking today. And so I'm just going to start with prayer. Mother, Father, God, and all the angels, saints, and holy ones, guides, teachers, and healers, we ask for the opportunity to feel the expansiveness of our consciousness right here, right now, at this moment. We ask that whatever is spoken about is of peace and joy and love and prosperity and justice for all. We ask that the envelope is pushed to the edge because we are the ones who have come here to create a new reality. We ask for this energy of this particular Zoom and spiritual service be spread across not only our cities and our towns and our counties and our states and our country, but around the world. We ask that this energy of love and light and social justice and newness now come into order. We do this through a collective consciousness, and that is why it is so incredibly important for people to come into communion and unity and oneness. We are thankful for the guests that we are having speaking to us today. May we listen and learn and lead. We thank for Jinelle and Amy for their constant employment through spiritual energy to come forth and bring this energy out to the world. We are thankful for our group last night. That was 405 people collectively coming together at 8 o'clock for the Gaian's energy field, for Gaia's energy field and the Lion's Gateway. We are thankful, and so it is. So welcome, everybody, welcome. I'm going to just announce two things before we get started today. Last Saturday, we ordinated and did a great ceremony for the leaders who just went through the leadership program. And I don't know if they are on with us, but I certainly wanted to congratulate them and let the community know. It was my last time doing ordination or leadership group, which felt bittersweet to me, but wonderful to me. The leaders who graduated and went through the program successfully and did a wonderful job and is out there pushing the envelope to make a new world is Reverend Barb Jackman, who's been a part of our community for a while now, as well as she is on our board at HIC. Reverend Erin Howlett, who is also the sweet and genuine holy soul, the softness, and so we congratulate her. Reverend Heidi Rimstad, the moment I met you, if you're on the air, I loved you because of your heart was so incorporated in social justice, and her love is working with people who are in trauma. Reverend Melissa Ketchum, again, I called her my spirit child the first time I met her. She has walked through fire to get where she has been. She had been a woman struggling with addiction and came out wherever you are with mental health of bipolar. And so she is an extraordinary woman who helps people in all of these areas. And of course, Reverend Lee Muscle Stocklock, S-T-A-L-O-C-K-H. She would have been with us today, but she is at a brother-in-law's celebration of life. And so we congratulate all of them in their success and their journey as they lead their own in their own unique ways going off into the world. We also wanted to welcome Donna Killian, who is new at the Hope Interfaith Center. She is working as a Swedish massage therapist, and so we just wanted to give a shout out to her, and with great reverence. Again, another holy woman walks in, you can just feel the energy, you can just feel her energy. And so we bless her coming forth at the Hope Interfaith Center. What I tell everybody is one of our mottos right now is make the needs of the people holy. Make the needs of the people holy. So we are trying to do all of our workshops and Zoom meetings, especially our spiritual services, on what are the needs of the people. Let's make them holy right now. And right now, we are in great need of an understanding and love and family of oneness. And so that's what this is dedicated to. So I asked Jinelle if she would do a short meditation before we went into sermon.
Thank you, Hope. So I invite everybody just to sit very relaxed, or find a relaxing place in your home or in the chair that you are in. Just wiggle around, let it all out. Just let all those little energies out, those little kinks out. And just close your eyes and take a deep breath. Blow it out. Take another deep breath. Just relax. Just relax. Love is all around us. Love is all around us. Love exists here. There is love inside of you. You are love. You are love. And feel your beautiful angels, your guides, your holy ones, and your loved ones all around you. So open your mind and open your heart and see them all around you. Feel their love. Feel their energy. See them around your children and your family. See them loving your children and your family. Love is all around them. Love exists there. See these beautiful angels and loved ones, holy ones, beings of love and light surround your friends. See them loving your friends. Love exists there. Love is all around them. And see the angels and guides, holy ones, loved ones, around all the strangers, complete strangers. See them loving them. They are wrapped in love because love exists there. And see these beautiful angels and beings of love and light around your animals in your home, your community, all the farms, all the wild animals, all of the animals on the planet are wrapped in love. Love exists there. Love is all around them. See these big, beautiful angels, beings of love and light, surround Mother Earth and love her. Love exists on Mother Earth. Love exists right where your feet are at, surrounding the whole planet. Love exists here. See the angels and guides, holy ones, beautiful energy, beautiful light, beautiful love surround all of the people of this earth, all of humankind. Love exists. Humankind is deeply loved. All of humankind, every race, background, ethnicity, culture, every single human being upon the planet is loved. Love exists in humankind. Love exists in every human. Love exists on the planet. Love exists inside of you. Use this beautiful love that is inside of you and send it out to humankind. From your heart to theirs. Send it to your family, your loved ones, your friends, your children, grandchildren, your future children, your community. Send this pure love that is in your heart to strangers, to the animals, to everyone that is here today. Love is inside of every human being, every animal, all of Mother Earth. Love exists. Love connects us all. It binds humankind together for your highest good and the highest good of all. Love connects us all countries, all races, all cultures, every single person. Love exists here. Love exists inside of you. Love is a gift. Be brave. Send it to the world, to all humans, all races, all colors, creeds, cultures, and countries across the entire planet. Send love to the animal kingdom, plant kingdom, the mineral kingdom, the oceans, the mountains, the valleys, the rivers and lakes, into all of Mother Earth. And see yourself surrounded by glowing angels, beautiful beings of love and light. See them around you and loving you. You are loved. Send this love to yourself, to every part of your body, to every cell of your being. Love you for you. Love is worth fighting for. Don't give up on love. Don't give up on a better future. You create the future. Make it a beautiful one. You are loved. You are loving. You are kind. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist in its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices in the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. You are loved. You are loving. This love is always with you and always inside of you. And take a deep breath. Blow it out. Come back slowly into your body and into the room that you are in. Wiggle your toes and wiggle your fingers. Whenever you are ready, open your eyes.
Thank you, Jinelle. Thank you.
Welcome, thank you.
Before we have our two beautiful guests on, I'm going to just ask you to, just for a moment, to let down what you think you know and allow the unknown universe to unfold before you. Very difficult to do. So before we go into this conversation, I'm going to ask you, because you can pick it up at the very end if you want, but if you put down what you think you know, and you allow yourself during this time together to allow the unknown to become known to you. And so I'm just going to tell you just a little bit, because many people do not know the history of the organization of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a US-based international movement co-founded by 3 Black women: Alicia Garza, Patrice Cullors, and Opal Tomati. The Black Lives Matter movement began as a hashtag for Twitter after George Zimmerman's acquittal for the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2013. It gained momentum after the 2014 shooting of Michael Brown, the death of Eric Gardner, and there has been subsequent evidence and events that has been continued to this day. Many people do not know the goals of the Black Lives Matter: justice, an end to all forms of discrimination, and the full recognition of human rights for Black people are what the movement includes in the vision for the new America. The movement calls upon the United States government to acknowledge structural violence and institutional discrimination, and to recognize the full spectrum of human rights for all. When people ask me, because our signs were stolen, I've gotten emails, a bit of a threat. What does it mean, don't all life matters? And this is my answer to that: yes. Our principles here at the Hope Interfaith Center, and mine personally, is that we are all called to recognize the inherent worth and dignity of every person upon this planet. Our principle is to promote that justice, equity, and compassion in human relations. Our second principle is to work for the goal of a world community of oneness with peace and liberty and justice for all. Our third principle at the Hope Interfaith Center is to spotlight serious issues of systemic injustice towards Black people specifically, especially at this time. Our principles call us to support this cause without negating the value of any other cause. We need to break from the either-or mentality and embrace both and understand all. We at the Hope Interfaith Ministries stands for this movement. We create learning spaces intentionally to have a conversation of peace and love and equity. So we create this safe place here today to recognize that our fight for civil rights is still happening today. So once again, I encourage you to, that's how I have gained my knowledge over the years, is that every time I have a teaching from one of my teachers, my peers, my friends, I let go of what I think I know. And at the moment I have intimacy with my heart, and I allow the unfoldment of the universe to bring me information that I do not know. And that's where we are at this particular time. So once again, I thank you for joining us for this spiritual service today. My friend Denise Hals, I welcome you, I welcome you, I welcome you, gentle soul, and sweet Rebecca Fabmunmi is here at this time. Would you, Fabmunmi, would you introduce yourself to the collective here and just tell them a little bit about yourself?
Morning, my name is Rebecca Fabmunmi, and I came across whom I lovingly call Mother Hope 21 years ago on Good Friday, and walked into her message circle in White Bear here in Minnesota. And I have since been on a journey. I believe I was in the first leadership course that you had, along with my sister Denise as well, amongst others, and had a wonderful, beautiful journey doing many things, going to other countries, etc., and just have been on a wonderful spiritual journey before and ever since. And so I live here in the city of Minneapolis, I live in the 2nd Precinct, if anybody's familiar with that. I live not too far away from Lake Street, but comfortably enough to not have been right on the edge of the city burning, and don't live too far from Chicago Avenue. And so I love life. I was brought up in love. I look forward to this conversation, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of it.
Thank you, Rebecca. Dearest Denise, would you like to introduce yourself to the group today?
Sure. Good morning, everyone, and congratulations to our new leaders. That's so exciting. As Rebecca said, her and I graduated together, and it was just a wonderful time. And Rebecca is the one who introduced me to the Hope Interfaith Center. So when I first met Hope, I attended something, and it was a little different and out there, but at the same time, it just felt like I felt like I was at home, and it was really comfortable. And so I've been trusting of her ever since. And so I am so grateful for you. I live in the Twin Cities area, and I was brought up in a multicultural family. So my exposure to a lot of different types of people and all different abilities, I think that really helped me shape the person who I am today. So I'm so grateful for the experience that I have because of my parents. So, and thank you to the Hope Interfaith Center for that as well.
Thank you, thank you. Well, the first question that I did want to ask you two beautiful beings is this, is that I have been approached, and also through email and text messages, that because of having signs out and a speaker for Black Lives Matter is, and just as I had read about, they will come back at me or push back at me, and the message of the Hope Interfaith Center is that every time I see one of those signs, they get mad because they are feeling that their lives do not matter. Their white lives do not matter. Asian lives do not matter. Native American lives do not matter. You're telling me that my life doesn't matter. So what would the two of you say to that, and how we can handle that as a group, or if we are approached by that? Denise, do you want to?
Sure. I think to me, Black Lives Matter is simply saying, I am taking the stand to say my specific life matters. Throughout the history, we've been told that we're less than. We've been, just Black people haven't had the same opportunities that other people have, and Native Americans the same, and probably others as well. And it's saying now is the time. We're demanding more. We always have. We're trying to really take a stand, and it's not saying nobody else matters. It's saying we all do matter, but as a Black person, it's a little different because we don't have the choice. Like, you're born into whatever race or religion you're in, and you don't have the opportunity to change that. And we've been put down and pressed down over time because of what we look like. And so I would say, and I feel like, Hope, you've done this over the years with anything, you keep doing it. So we keep putting the signs back out and explaining that all lives do matter, but this is why, and the education piece and letting people know why it is important. So maybe other people don't understand that the day that we're born as a Black person, that is the day that we have started to be looked down upon. And so it is important for all of us to take a stand and say, and lovingly challenge each other to just say we all matter, and how can I lend a hand to you? How can you lend a hand to me? How can we together in this world have a world full of love and hope? And I think it's just that continued education, keep putting the signs out there. It's not, like I said, it's not just saying nobody else matters. We all do. But there's some reasons behind it. So I think education is an important piece.
Thank you. Rebecca, how about you? So how would you address it if someone pushed back with that kind of statement, or came forth with that my life doesn't matter because I'm a white woman?
So the movement isn't an or either or movement, it's an and movement. And so until Black Lives Matter, all lives don't matter. And so it's not saying that no other lives matter. It's bringing to the forth that all lives matter. And until Black Lives Matter, all lives don't matter. So basically, I will share it like this. One, for those of you who are very family oriented, to think about it in terms of family and children, etc., having all these children, and those who come from a space and can really connect through business or a system or a process, to that in all that space, in order to have a wonderful family, in order to have a wonderful system, in order to have a wonderful process, you always protect and nurture and love the weakest link. Because that's how you have an amazing family. That's how you have an amazing system. That's how you grow an amazing process. If one space and place is weak, that weakens everything. And so in this state of Minnesota, if you can receive this, how wonderful is it to be, of all the 50 states, to be number 4 in education? That's amazing. However, for African Americans, it's number 44th in education. And so what that says for this state is that there's a let me get it right, a 40 state gap between others and African Americans, just the average education space. How does that happen? I'm not here to tell you how it happens, just be open to think about how it happens. And just think about if that was you or yours, being in a space and a place that's 4th in the nation and getting on average 44th. That's what this is about. And it's not just in terms of education, it's in terms of healthcare, it's in terms of wages, it's in terms of housing, and what really creates wealth and well-being, and the space to grow and to leave generational wealth is through education, as the system of the United States works, and property. There is a huge disparity in property as well. And so those are the things to really think about as we're in this and space. And so for those who may be out there that feel like, oh, I don't matter, this is a statement against me not mattering. It's not that. We all matter. It's just until Black Lives Matter, everyone isn't really truly mattering as a whole.
Thank you. Thank you. It brings to mind, which I've studied, and also Ruth Ann Rosenwinkel, who does also Reiki at the center. She went to the redwoods, and she was telling me about the ecosystem of the redwood trees, and how the ecosystem of the redwood trees work is that in all of that lush, wonderful, beautiful forest, that when one tree is cracked down with lightning, and it is seen and sensed within the roots underneath the ground. At the moment that that happens, all the other roots from all the other trees from the redwood forest comes and nurtures the roots of the one tree or two trees that has been kind of burnt down and electrically charged and is in the process of dying. And so I always loved that statement. More than that statement, I loved that vision that all of the roots underneath the ground would go to the trees that were moving into death or being executed or being damaged. And I thought to myself, as I would hear this, I thought, so why is it the ecosystem can do this? The nature, the true nature of who we are. And that's why a spiritual foundation is so important, because the spiritual foundation of a person would naturally, just like the roots of Gaia Mama Earth, would naturally go towards that of which is being struck down at that time, to nurture and take care of. And so because the both of you went through the leadership class, could we talk just a little bit about that particular story and our true nature? Because one of the things is that because of what we saw up in the Twin Cities and as well as all over our nation, some people were saying, you know, all these protesters were, you know, robbing stores and burning down stores and things like that. So how can we, in our spiritual nature, come to you, our family, and help you at this time? How do you see it integral in helping our world at this time? Do you want to start with that, Rebecca?
I would say to follow your heart, your real true heart, your inner being's heart, and where you find passion, and where the creation, the universe is speaking to you. I really believe that now is the time for action, not just words, not just policies, not just documented processes, etc., but really to have some action to what you're saying. And based upon what you do, one will be able to see where your heart is at. And so I don't think this is an exercise for anybody to do anything other than what they want to do in life. I come from a space of free to be you, free to be me. I think what's just helpful to recognize is that I, with my brown skin, can't share with anybody else what they need to do for me. What I can say is, what do you want to do for yourself to be a wonderful person in this world? If you are witnessing something, what are you doing? If you are a part of something, that's great, that's wonderful. If you are a part of something that's less than loving, what does that really mean to you? And so I just know that a piece for me that has always left me in a space of sadness for a while is that people witness other people getting hurt, spoken to in a certain way, treated a certain way, and in that moment, don't act. And so, if anything, I would welcome others to, in those moments, to act. And then, in any time you have an opportunity to be a loving person, to be a loving person. I'm not asking for special treatment. I just simply would love for us to go in that space and place where we're just all loving, kind, generous, standing in truth, and being in that space and place where consumerism isn't our overlay that everybody bows down to, and that we're sharing and caring, because there's enough for everyone. What I really like, and may I at some point be able to go to an elephant sanctuary, I love that elephants are all mothering. They mother all the elephants, not just their own. And if one of the mothers go away, they take in the others that are there left without their mother to be their mother. And even the sisters in that are all mothering. And so may we all mother. I have no other words to share with you today except for may we be like the elephants and be all mothering. And that is not anything to say against all the fathers. It's just that elephants are all mothering. Thank you.
Thank you. How about you, Denise? What's your take on the whole, like, I think our true nature is spiritual, and that, you know, when they talk about policy change, which I agree we need policy changes, but what is going to do that policy change? I mean, how is it going to be sustainable as we do policy changes, or what's sustainable will sustain equity for all and justice for all. And I see that as a moral compass or a moral evolution that we're moving into. How do you see it integral in helping the cause of Black Lives Matter?
Well, I think Rebecca alluded to this as well, but there's so much work that can be done and needs to be done. For instance, I am probably not the right person to be making policy changes because it's not my talent. So finding what are the things that you can do, and how, I think anytime you probably do something for one person, hopefully it would benefit all people. And figuring out, what are your talent areas or your skills, or how can you help? Maybe if the only thing you can do is bring a food donation to a community that's underserved or has a huge need, maybe that's your piece in the puzzle. And two, I think just education and learning about yourself. Like if someone were to walk by my son and his friends, and who looks different than them, they might have a fear, but yes, they're all in their 20s, so they might be loud and rambunctious, but they're all kind-hearted people. And so maybe just stopping to pause and say, what is about me that makes me feel uncomfortable about this person? And just learning about, well, why is it that you might have you might feel a certain type of way about somebody because you don't even know them. So, is it because the society has taught you that for that person to be mad? Maybe you actually, or, that has taught you to feel a certain way. Or is it, maybe you had an experience or something, but what is it? Just learning kind of about yourself and where your thought processes are coming from. But I do think we can't do everything. I don't have the talent to, like I said, write policy, but maybe I can learn about, and then if I learn about what's going on, maybe I can support that somehow. But figuring out, well, what is my talent and how can I be the most beneficial to help the world? My whole thing is yes, we all matter. And so I want to help the world, everybody. How can I do that to the best of my ability with the things that I have available to me? So I think Rebecca nailed that on the head, is we can only do what we can do. Some people can donate money. Some people can start the movement, like the 3 women that you talked about who started Black Lives. And we have so many talents amongst us. And so figuring out where we can best utilize that, I think that would be one important thing to do, because we can't do everything. So, nor should we, because we just shouldn't do some things because we don't have the education or the knowledge to do those things. So what is it that we can do? So.
Rebecca?
To respond to your policy piece, I've helped written policy before, and policy is important in terms of to have some infrastructure to be able to place money into, to be able to then have programs, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's how the system of the United States works. And so policy is great. However, one can have the best policy. However, it's the people and how the people are that have the power with the policy, et cetera, that will really enact that policy to be great. And so we can have the best written policy, we can have the best written programs, et cetera, but without that loving space, I mean, we just had this wonderful meditation on love, this wonderful, beautiful music, and without the love interjection into it, and without the people, because it's the people that make this experience that we're all living, the experience for the people. And so we're all responsible for this. We are all leaders in this ourselves.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree 100%, because when I worked up at the treatment center here in Mankato, Minnesota, we had a program for women, Renaissance program. And it was a really pretty terrific program to help women in recovery. And yet, as a peer and a colleague to a lot of my people who were working with me at the time, I saw a lot of discrepancies of their health, their mental health, their sobriety, or how they were taking care of themselves. And I did during one of the Pure Talks, I said, you know, we could have the best program in the state of Minnesota, but it's the messengers that need to be clear as they bringing forth the message in their own integral field. And so I think that's really, really important, really important. So it's Black women living in the state of Minnesota and just in our world. How safe do you feel as you walk and traverse this planet? Do you feel safe? Do you feel threatened? What's your answer to that?
I guess I can start. It depends. Sometimes I feel safe and sometimes I don't. If I'm in an area where, you know, maybe gun violence is higher, I might not feel as safe. Have I been in those areas and walked down the street? Yes, I have. I think I said this in a Zoom meeting. There is a time when I dropped my son off at college in Fargo and I was driving across the state to go to a retreat with you, and my car broke down and I was up north, and I had to keep stopping and pulling over because my car was overheating. And so I was scared for many reasons. One, I'm a Black woman in a northern part of the state. And then I'm also female. And I'm alone, and I'm at a disadvantage already for those things. And then my car's not working. And so I would pull over in areas where cars couldn't see me because I was scared. It was scary to me. So I pulled over to this one place because I just couldn't go any further. And I knew that there was a house down the street, and I was pulling over in there. I mean, that was on a gravel road, so there was some distance to their house, but I pulled over there, so I was off the road. And it was scary for me because I thought, oh, great. You know, I just have all these things in my mind, like, oh, great. These, you know, instead of thinking, oh, love and light and I'm fine, I went into fear and was hoping that, you know, they weren't racists, that were going to start being mad because I'm on their property. And they, you know, I didn't know. And so there are times I'm scared for different reasons. So, and there's simple little things too, just walking past someone, and if you say hi and they don't say hi, you know, sometimes I might go into, oh, I wonder if they're not saying hi to me because I'm Black. You know, it's just simple little tiny things like that. Or, you know, maybe because they don't like my size, maybe because I'm a female, maybe because they're half asleep. You know, I don't actually know what the reason is. I'm just creating all these reasons in my mind. And so, so yeah, there's been times, sometimes I'm fine, but sometimes I go into fear. And I mean, I'll admit that I do. So for various reasons. So.
How about you, Rebecca?
So I'll share that in terms of what Denise said, that I think that a part of what we're all talking about is that we are first seen as the color of our skin, and that's what's defining all this. And so for Denise to very eloquently share that she's not quite sure why she's feeling that or what others are thinking, that's a lot of extra steps that we have to do on a lot of levels all day long. And kids learn that from very little by getting messages from many people in many different ways. And by the time you're an adult, I mean, really, literally, it gets overwhelming. And so it's a lot of extra that if those like us didn't have to do, you know, it'd just be so much more peaceful. And so, as you were saying earlier before, I don't really understand the space, and I'm not judging anybody, but it's not my way to go burn and take. However, you know, with a lot of buildup, a valve needs to be released. And so just know that a part of that is just all these messages and all this other extra that one has to go through every second of their life. And so in particular, I know you're asking us, but I'll say in terms of the African-American male, it's a lot. It's overwhelming, and it hurts my heart. I will say this, in terms of going back to what you're really asking. In my neighborhood, I live very close to downtown Minneapolis, and I currently right now, I don't feel safe. There's a lot going on in the city of Minneapolis, and generally I feel like the city of Minneapolis is a little off the rails and not really understanding what is needed for the public safety, for the mutually beneficial of all. So there's that space for me right now. I will answer this way. I really have a strong faith and belief. And so I know that in all moments I am protected and I am fine. And so I can always go back to that. I know it's my responsibility to make good decisions on the behalf of myself. And so to the best of my ability, I do. I will say this though, there's something about the United States that there are a lot of other countries, I've traveled a lot, and there's a lot of other countries that I feel so safe in, no matter what time of night, no matter where I am. So there is something about the United States that does have this space and place that can create a lot of fears for a lot of people, including myself. I will share an experience that I had with my mother and my youngest daughter as I dropped off my oldest daughter in North Carolina. We did this whole road trip. My mom met me to help me drive back. But I took a road trip with my daughters, took 3 weeks going through the United States. It was fine. Dropped off my daughter to have this experience while she was in the camp, a math camp. And we were driving back and we got to Alabama and hit a rock that fell off a mountain, bent the rim, and the DOT showed up. And at the time I was working at the DOT with Denise, and I was like, oh my gosh, all of them are brown. That's amazing. This is so different than being here. You don't see a maintenance crew that everybody's brown. They kept on telling us to go back, you wanna go back, you wanna go back this way, don't go that way to get your car fixed. Well, didn't quite understand it. We're like, we'll be fine, and went forward. By the time we got into the town, I was in the back seat with my young daughter, who was less than 4 years old, huddled up in the back praying while my mom drove. We hid in the back. She explained what was gonna happen. She got the motel room. And we snuck in and shut the blinds and didn't leave until the car was fixed. I had never felt anything like that before and never forgot it. And it was the energy. And that energy does still exist. And for those of you who do not know, my mother is Caucasian. And so she was the face of us to get us through that. And my daughter and I were huddled in the backseat and I was praying. And that's the reality of the United States.
On a day-to-day basis, even for the kids now, like my sons, that's a daily occurrence for them every day. Maybe not to that extreme, there's different degrees, but every day they go through that to some degree.
May I share something just to clearly define the difference of what is happening? A friend of mine, very nicely, she has a son whom you can see as brown. She has a younger son who you can see as non-brown. And her son that was 16, almost 6 months having his license, was pulled over 5 days ago, going through a stop sign. And then, then the car smells like marijuana. Then they find marijuana on one of them. And then they find paraphernalia vaping. And then there's more than the amount of people that are supposed to be in the car during COVID. Guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing at all.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing at all. That's the difference here. Denise, what do you think would happen to your son if it was all the same circumstance or even one of those?
I'd be getting them out of jail or not getting them out of jail. It would have been a big ordeal.
And this is America, and this is what we're dealing with. And my friend's older son very articulately told his younger son, if that was me, I'd be in big trouble. Take it seriously. He told him to take it seriously about all, the people he had with him in the car, and had that conversation with him as the older brother. The parents did all that too. But he shared with his brother, totally different circumstance, totally different outcome. It would have ruined his life maybe, you know, on some level, some way, somehow with the start of being in the criminal system.
Yeah.
Because once you get in there, you're tracked.
Interesting. Well, as we close, what would be your last, but not final words, but last words to this group as to encourage us to go and move forward for all lives that do indeed matter, but especially for our Black brothers and sisters? Well, what would be your last words that you would like to give to them, Denise?
I don't know. I mean, just go forth in love and see people with an open heart, because we don't know their story. We don't know where they're coming from. That's a big question to answer. So all I can say is go forth in love. I mean, that's what you've taught us over the years, and same with my parents. People are different. They have different abilities, different skills. They look different. And that's all we have to judge when we first see them. And that might not be the correct thing to they might be the most loving person ever, and we overlook that just because of maybe what they look like. So obviously we can't get to know everybody in the world, but I think if you can go forth in love and do the best that you can. It's a big question to answer.
It is. It is. Love is a good thing. Rebecca, what would be your final words to this group?
One, whomever's taking the signs, meet them at the place of where they're at and just be forgiving. It's a statement of them, not of the signs and not of anything else. And it's an opportunity for them to go into a space and a place where eventually they won't take the signs anymore or redirect, somehow, some way. All of us, just for whatever reason, we should wake up every day to be our best selves. And a part of being our best selves is one, loving ourselves very much, and in turn, loving others as much as we can in any way that shows up in our space. And so, as always, I love being a part of these conversations. But what I'd really like to end with today is that Oprah has a new show called Conversations with Oprah. And her first was with Emmanuel Acho, former football player, and it's on white privilege, and it's done so well. If any of you have the time, it's through Apple TV, or maybe it's through other venues. I'm sure you can find it through Facebook Live, or just, like Oprah and her whole team's great at getting things out there. But it's amazing. And so if anyone struggles with or wants to learn more, just having conversations in terms of with anybody who they had allowed in to ask questions too. And it was very well done. Very well done. Very well.
Thank you.
And I wish we could listen to Janelle's thing every morning. The whole world could hear her meditation every morning. It would help us.
It would, yeah. Well, thank you, my sisters. Thank you for joining us today. Amy, would you give us a song just for reflection, please? Just to reflect on the message.
I will, and this, I've played this song for the Hope Interfaith Center before, but I absolutely love it. It's a traditional Irish song, and it's called Give Me Your Hand. And it's an impossible melody to sing the words to, but the words are, it's basically give me your hand and we will walk through this world and we'll make it a better place together. So I thought that would be appropriate for this topic today.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Amy, what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have their hands over their heart for the benediction. Would you give Reiki while I read this to them as they, what Amy always does is she gives Reiki to allow you to feel your magnificence, your powers, your abilities, and your pure essence that you are here upon the planet. And I am going to read to you the benediction, and then we'll say goodbye. I'm going to spell the name of the person who wrote this. I asked my husband, how do you pronounce it? It's Al, E-R-I-N, Liren, Alta, A-L-T-A. And it comes from the Sacred Wild Woman Medicine. So Amy, if you would just everybody into their receivership. You are being called to rise. If you ever felt called to be a healer, a teacher, a salve for all of the people upon the planet, now is the time to come forward. If you are a word weaver, a light worker, a lender of ears, a giver of the heart, now is your time to come forward. If you have been hiding your medicine in your pockets, behind your eyes, beneath your tongue, or in your vocal cords, waiting for the right time to share it. Now is your time to come forward. If you have been waiting for approval, for validation, for vindication, before sharing your most precious gifts to the world, now is your time to come forward. If you have been waiting for the perfect time, the perfect mentor, the perfect plan, now your time is to come forward. If you can bring laughter, comfort, and warmth to the most solemn spaces, now is your time to come forward. If you have ever been called to use your life for something greater than yourself, now is the time to come forward. Yes, you might be terrified. Yes, you might become unpopular. And yes, you might disrupt the social norm. But now is your time to come forward. The world needs you. Now, come forward. Come forward imperfect, broken, uncertain, raw, and willing to share your gifts. Whatever your gifts are, lend your gifts to the greater good. Help make the world a better place so we might all be free. This is sacred, wild, audacious medicine that we have right now to bring forth in our own holy, unique ways. And so it is. Thank you, everyone. Namaste until we meet again. Thank you for joining us on short notice. We were going to have it on the lawn, but this is working marvelously for us. So namaste, go forward. The world needs you now. Thank you, my sisters, Denise and Rebecca. I see my other Black woman, beautiful, strong friend, Renita, is on with us. Thank you for Renita. Thank you for being pushing the envelope to the edge. Let's do it. Let's do it together. I love you all. Have a great day. Namaste.